We have with us David Francis, who is the CEO and co-founder of Virtual Method, and he's based out of Sydney. He's been at the forefront of consumer-facing commercial augmented and virtual reality since 2010. He's working with Daiquiri initially and securing a number of their first major campaigns, and then he founded the first dedicated AR/VR division within Australia's largest print group. In 2016, he founded Virtual Method with Women in AR/VR leader Carly Johnson. He's been a keynote speaker around Australia, Europe and across Asia, and is considered a thought leader on the applications in a number of industries. David, can you hear me and can I hear you?
Loud and clear, I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me.
Fantastic, and looks like you're sharing your screen there, and that's all good. So welcome aboard. Tell us what you do and what's exciting in the field.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for having me on today and the opportunity to speak to the audience here, learning about the technology that we work with in the building and construction sector. My company is called Virtual Method, which, as was mentioned, I co-founded with Carly Johnston. And we are effectively specialists in all things immersive. By immersive, I mean we're very dedicated to augmented reality and virtual reality. A lot of people then have a lot of other terminology such as mixed reality or extended reality or digital reality, or and then the latest one is metaverse. So it's very much a technology that is emerging very fast and is affecting every single industry. I've been in it now for 11 years full time. It's been a long wait, but certainly we are seeing, especially with COVID, some rapid adoption, and we are seeing some very, very large amounts of money being invested in it. Probably at the moment about a quarter of what's being invested in fintech, for example, but certainly very exciting and very relevant to the subject matter today. We call ourselves Virtual Method because we are dedicated to the virtual space, but also Method in the fact that we have been doing this for so long. There are really no proper, I would say, textbooks on this. There are just emerging courses of varying quality. So a lot of this you only learn sometimes, and certainly in the early days, the hard way. And we've done those hard yards so that our clients don't have to. Just to clarify for those out there that are not familiar with at least the terminology augmented reality and virtual reality, I like to use a little bit of pop culture. On the left there, you can see Tony Stark in his lab as he is visualizing and manipulating designs for the manufacture of his Iron Man suit. That is what we would call augmented reality. You can still see the world, and the virtual content makes up a part thereof, is overlaid upon it, but has a spatial relationship to it. It looks like that suit deconstructed is sitting on top of a desk. On the right there, you have the popular film from Steven Spielberg, Ready Player One, based on the very popular book. And that is about the Oasis. And if you're hearing talk of the metaverse right now, somewhat it's aligned to that, where they call them in the film the missing millions, or the younger generation that's disappearing into a virtual world. Well, we're already seeing the beginnings of that if you have kids and they get into Fortnite or Roblox or anything like that. And once they have the ability to put the VR headset on their head and go to other worlds, well, plenty will, for escapism, for being social, especially seeing as everyone's locked down now. It's opening up a lot of possibilities. And they're quite different technologies, but the content creation for them is similar. The tools that we use in this space right now consist of what you can see on screen. We are using virtual reality headsets, fully encompassing, take you to another world. In the bottom right there, you can see the Vario, which is human eye resolution. They're not cheap, those headsets, but they are used, for example, for pilot training because they're so sharp, the image that you see, that you can see very fine telemetry on like a pilot's cockpit. And then on the top right, I'm going to talk a little bit about today, you can see the RealWear industrial head-mounted tablets. In the middle, you might have seen a little bit around HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens, which is a stereoscopic, we would say, 2-eye biocular augmented reality display. Looks like there's holograms in the world in front of you, and it tracks your hands so you can grab them and manipulate them. A little bit Minority Report for more pop culture. And you can see now the Oculus Quest in the middle there and Vive Focus 3. These devices are really quite affordable, very easy to deploy. Even 10-year-old kids can set them up in seconds, and what they can do is quite mind-blowing. I recommend, if you have the chance to jump in one, please do. You'll be surprised by just how far this technology has evolved. But if you look at the year ahead, we are expecting a huge announcement from Apple around augmented reality eyewear, the biggest project we believe they've been working on for the last 10 years, and certainly the biggest thing launched since the iPhone by Steve Jobs in 2007. And it will change everything, as the iPhone did. But you can see there's a lot of competitors there, from Snap to Facebook. Everyone wants to own the interface in front of your eyes, because it will replace screens, it will replace phones, tablets, it will replace everything. And if you own that and it's your ecosystem, well, then you're the king of the castle in terms of what you deliver to users. So gamification is driving this, but certainly it's very interesting because BYOD, bring your own device, happened where people bought like iPhones and everything outside of a business and then brought them to work, and IT teams pulled their hair out and went, "What is that? We only use Nokia bricks in our business." And they went, "No, I want to use an iPhone." So they had to adjust. What we're seeing is that wearables are coming into the workplace first and are then going to head more towards consumer. The take up in the workspace is quite exceptional, which I'm going to talk about a bit today. So in terms of the AEC industry, in terms of construction, I'm going to show you, first of all, a tool that we have integrated with some of our AEC clients. This tool is, we are the exclusive reseller in this part of the world, and it's called Resolve. And this gives you a bit of an idea of how it works.
Introducing Resolve, a new way for AEC teams to review projects on the Oculus Quest. Resolve enables you and your team to open massive BIM files with hundreds of millions of polygons without spending hours simplifying or sectioning. Using our direct integration with BIM 360, you can make your model VR ready with one click, making it accessible from anywhere using nothing more than your wireless Oculus Quest. Resolve's custom model loading engine only streams in the content you're looking at, allowing you to review massive BIM files without compromising performance and comfort in VR. Reviewing projects in VR has never been easier, so grab your Quest and get ready to resolve.
So with this tool, architects and construction managers and developers and any stakeholder involved in a project from wherever they are in the world can jump into a headset, enter a PIN, and in seconds basically have the latest iteration of a very highly spec'd Revit model or Navisworks model, which has been federated into Autodesk BIM 360, streaming into their device. They will also see those other stakeholders who could be tens of thousands of kilometers away opposite them. They can then start doing design reviews. They can do clash detection. They can put notes on things and measure things up and effectively walk through the environment at their real world height. So if a door is too low, they'll be able to go, "Oh, that's a little bit low. We might need to heighten that door because I'm 6 foot and in this virtual space, I'm 6 foot and I'm feeling like I need to duck." So it gives you a kinesthetic understanding of the environment in order to make those reviews. And while you can be in it, then you can come out and in the bottom left there, view it like a doll's house. And if you want to then jump into a room, you just go bang and everyone just goes whoop, jumps into the room. People can also jump in through PCs if they want to. It's just nowhere near as good as literally being inside there and having that incredible control of being able to move, walk, floats, and see every single aspect of the model. And if you make notes, those notes will federate all the way back into Revit, for example, so that the architects can actually see the notes in Revit that were put in there in the VR and make the changes and then sync it again to the cloud. This was a session that we actually did with one of our clients, very big AEC company. This was, excuse the jitteriness, it's just the nature of screen recording. Certainly wasn't like that in the experience, but it is where we're walking through one of their projects, which is under construction right now, actually, in Sydney. And we were training them as they went, and they were all locked down in their own homes. So we shipped the VR devices to them. So that's a great way to sort of do your design reviews, make sure you're all on the same page, spot issues that you wouldn't have otherwise spotted unless you were in there at, you know, real world size. And I can, if anybody reaches out, I can send you some of the stats on it. There's some of the savings that AEC companies have seen through doing that are extraordinary time savings, and then obviously money. On site, the connected worker. Now, there's a few tools that we work with to allow construction personnel on site to have a better experience of being able to check what they're actually doing versus the designs, the 3D models, etc. One of them is incorporating a device like this, the Hololens 2. And this device can actually calibrate against your real world environment just by setting a simple marker on the ground in the corner of a room, for example. It'll go and lock the BIM model to the real world space. And so then a worker can walk through, a construction manager, etc., and actually check that everything is has been built exactly per the model. And if something's out, they'll be able to see it in a second and go, why is that out? Why did we change that? And do we need to do something about that sooner rather than later? So HoloLens is a very powerful tool that we use. This is also another very powerful tool from a company we've been working with for a while. This has just come out of stealth. It allows you to wear a 360 camera on top of a helmet and walk through a construction site, and it will record everything spatially and in full 360. It will then match every square meter to the BIM model and line them up side by side, as you can see that lady is doing on the screen there. So she can then progress through a virtual tour and see step by step that it's actually matching the BIM model exactly as it should. So just another way that you can actually check that everything is, you know, exactly as it was designed to be. And this way, of course, you know, allows for, you know, you to put it up on a screen and I guess, you know, remotely put it into a call like we're at Zoom, like we're in right now, and discuss it with many stakeholders. Down to the individual worker. So we actually, for many years, have worked with this device called the RealWear HMT1, and it's a heads-up display, fully ruggedized, 2-meter drop-proof onto concrete, waterproof, dust-proof, and this is one of the ways it's being used in construction. I'm going to skip for the sake of time.
We have
it's Skanska in New York, talking about what a progressive company they are. And then here's the
we use every type of frame. I go around and I build them, break them down, and do all the criticals. We deal with weights that people can't imagine. We set beams 24,000 pounds, 52,000 pounds, and there's no room for error.
And just in case the audio is not coming through well, he's saying that they haul incredible tonnage around a construction site.
Is that everyone goes home how they came in. The advantage that RealWear is bringing was the ability for operators to work in the blind. That we call it in the blind because they're not able to see everywhere that they're lifting. And if there's a guy that's on the ground, he's telling the operator what to do and when to make the moves. And the operator, he doesn't see what the guys on the ground can see. But now you can have a screen in the cab, and the operator essentially is looking at the whole entire lift he has the ability to see everything as well.
So just to describe this for you, I'll bring up an image just to help make it a bit clearer. These workers are seeing through each other's eyes as they're on site. They are able to dial each other up and then choose which camera they view. And so the crane operator can see through the dogger's eyes, who's basically showing him how the haulage, which has disappeared behind a facade, for example, is actually traveling or swinging in the wind or whatever as it's coming down to the ground. So it's enhancing safety, because for years now, like, the way of doing it is literally like, paint me a picture with very descriptive words, and do it quickly because I'm hauling tons around this site. So this is a great innovation that Skanska are using. As I mentioned, this device is it's as powerful as a high-end Android tablet, effectively. And it's just all voice activated. It has perfect noise cancellation up to 95 decibels. So if you were on a call with someone remotely and they're seeing through your eyes, like on Microsoft Teams or Zoom or a more specialized tool like LibreStream on-site, they will be on 2 feet. If someone has an angle grinder over here and there's some other loud drill going over there, the remote person will hear nothing in the background, just the person's voice. It's extraordinary how well it just shuts down everything beyond this invisible 2-foot curtain. But if you want to listen to something, if there's a strange sound happening, you can turn off the noise cancellation and the remote person can listen to it and then turn it back on again. And for a worker, if they don't need it, if they don't need to jump into a call, they can just fold it back. It's 340 grams on their head. It's no weight at all, and it's a great tool to have, and certainly, as per this slide, a lot safer than digitization happening on the work site right now, where people are asking workers to hold tablets and phones, but they need to hold tools, they need to hold their weight, they need to get on a ladder. It's having a hands-free device is very powerful. It's also, and I'll just show you this for 2 seconds. This is the New York Power Authority, and what they're doing with the device is they're actually incorporating biometrics. So biometric sensors on workers is feeding into the device, and a construction manager, a foreman, can actually then see the health, the heart rate, hydration, etc. of workers. If they're working in the hot Australian sun, in the middle of summer, much like an AFL coach would pull them out of the game of play using the catapult devices built into their jerseys before they reach peak exhaustion, you can do the same with construction workers and make sure that they're, not impacting their livers heavily because they've got high sodium diets and had a few beers the night before, and now they're in 38-degree heat. So use cases in construction are allow architects to review structural challenges from anywhere without having to be on site. GHD Digital are doing that with our devices at the moment for a project they're doing in Vanuatu, for example. Allow any worker to check in on ambiguity with the site manager without traveling around the site. Just bang, call, can you see what I'm seeing? Is this right? Augment workers' vision when they're working in the blind. Allow hands-free safe digital reporting to be done. The Wearable acts as a hub for biometrics, as I mentioned. Allow workers to instantly access any amount of schematics and documentation wherever they are. You can pull entire manuals and plans into the device, zoom in on particular areas, and digitize workflows, so getting rid of paper and pen. I'm just going to skip this just for the sake of time. Finally, just to round off, just to really briefly touch on virtual reality training, which even Toyota's VR training is causing 15 times more knowledge to be retained in VR, achieves at 72% less cost than how they used to train workers. And we have training in the cloud that can allow workers from anywhere to now work on equipment, rehearse without having to be in situ. And you can see it, script and there. It's quite extraordinary in terms of reduced, travel cost and developing that kinesthetic memory that workers are going to need when they get on site, and they just know how to do it because they've done it, albeit in a virtual space. So that's it. Just given I've only have a short and plenty of metrics at the back end to measure that with too, by the way, 30 data points per second per user. So you know if that worker is absorbing that training or not. They can be federated with a learning management system like SAP, success factors. Please scan that code if you want to grab my details and get in touch. This technology is just evolving every second, and we keep all our customers up to date with every aspect of it. So, yeah, look forward to having the discussion.